Hey there and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about the Dumbbell Single Leg RDL. We're going to be taking a supinated grip with this exercise today. This is a great exercise for your hamstrings, and if you find that one hamstring tends to be more flexible than the other, this is a great way to kind of even them out. I would do maybe 5 reps more per set on this leg than the other. Or you can just do this at the end of your workout if you're like training hamstrings that day or whatever. And what you want to make sure you're doing is standing around shoulder width apart, and then you want to make sure, or a little inside shoulder width apart actually, and then you want to make sure that your chest is up. You got the opposite hand up just to counterbalance, and you want to make sure you're doing it in a slow and controlled fashion. At the end of the video, we're going to be talking about some of the common mistakes with demonstrations. But before we continue, here's a word from today's video sponsor.
I'm today's video sponsor, and if you'd like help losing fat or gaining muscle, there are a few ways I can help you down below. Either set up a free consultation with us, purchase one of our free affiliate links, or purchase one of our instant access affordable training programs. Can't wait to be of service to you. Now let's get back to the rest of the video.
So basically what you want to make sure you're doing is coming down with a flat back, or as flat as you can get it, right? If it rounds a little, it's not ideal obviously, but if you're pushing yourself, then you're going to find that it does happen from time to time, but it's not a big deal. Just make sure you keep it as flat as possible though. Don't just neglect it because maybe you lack a little bit of flexibility. What you want to make sure you're doing also is making sure that you're not rotating your torso too much. You basically want to have your torso just flat as best you can. And this requires balance, so if you find that you struggle with balance a lot, then I recommend that you do this without any weight to begin with, and then slowly start to increase the weight over time. Another key thing you want to make sure you're doing is not excessively bending that front knee, because what you want to make sure is that you keep the majority of the pressure on the hamstrings. Whenever you start bending your knees too much, you start using your quadriceps more, which obviously is not your hamstrings. Another thing that you may want to focus on, but it's not that important, is the back leg. You don't have to have it perfectly straight all the time. Basically what you're doing is getting that leg out of the way so you can focus on the area that you want to focus on, which is the single leg, which is just one leg obviously. Another key thing you want to make sure you're doing is keeping your core tight. Whenever you loosen your core too much, then your back's going to start excessively rounding, and that's not good, because then that's going to put a lot of pressure on your lower back obviously. Will this exercise work your lower back? Yes, but it's within the proper context, meaning that your back is flat. You don't want to be working your lower back just because you just rounded it and it hurts. It shouldn't necessarily hurt your lower back, and you shouldn't necessarily feel this on your actual spine. You should be feeling this in your lower back muscles, your glutes, and the working hamstring. Now let's talk about some of the common mistakes that you guys may want to avoid so that you can do this exercise correctly. First is limited range of motion. You have to go all the way down. Really aim to go all the way down. Don't just stop here. Another common mistake is keeping your head up. This makes it very hard to balance. If you have your head down and you're looking at one thing, that's a lot easier to balance with. But if you look up, then your line of sight keeps changing. Now, the other common mistake is keeping your shoulders up. You don't want to do that because, again, you're going to lose balance because you're focusing on different muscle groups and you're going to feel tension in your neck. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you do not round your lower back excessively like this. So notice how my lower back is really bent over. That's not good because then it places pressure on the spine itself and on your neck.